This video is going to look at the rationalization of science and the disenchantment of the world from the view of Maximilian Weber. As time progresses, many other things progress with it, especially the development of science and technology. In the recent past, there's been a very interesting relationship between science, technology, and social conflict. There have been a multitude of thinkers who have voiced their views on these relationships over time and how they exhibit a shifting dynamic of society as technology advances. One such thinker was Maximilian Weber. Weber was alive during a major shift of academia, wherein the focus was shifting from religious institutions to academia and scientific institutions, and he noted these changes. In his work, Science as a Vocation, he presents a concept of rationalization, which leads one of his main arguments. Rationalization is defined as a process through which more and more aspects of human life become subject to calculation, measurement, and control. He argues that in every field of life, not just science, we see human societies gradually base themselves around calculation, measurement, and control. An obvious example is the development of trade and the creation of money. In the past, trade used to consist of gift-giving and bartering. However, as the world became increasingly rationalized, society created a standard of measurement for trading goods with the introduction of money. Now, this does not imply that societies that calculate less are irrational. Often they simply organize themselves according to a different rationale. An increasing rationalization does not indicate an increased and general knowledge of the conditions under which one lives. Increasing rationalization may result in a wider range of knowledge, but it tends to be cocooned in a specific field, and it is not a widely shared knowledge. The rationalization of the world seems to be a result of what the title of his work is indicating, classifying science as a vocation. He claims the rationalization of science is derived from the emergence of specialized bodies of professionals that are dedicated to a specific pursuit and an increasing specialization within science. Weber maintains that the academic man should pursue science for science's sake and not merely for prospects of personal gain, paralleling another pervasive thinker, Robert Merton, and a scientific norm of disinterestedness. Weber argues that through this inward calling for science, we have entered a stage of specialization in science hitherto unrivaled. This has resulted in a growing dominance of technical experts that serve to pursue this notion of rationalization, increasing the calculability and measurability of things. The effects of the rationalization of science have been profound and prevalent. It has led to greater efficiency, accuracy, productivity, and overall control over a plethora of aspects of human life. It has allowed for elimination of diseases, improved nutrition, longer lifespans, and more comfortable lifestyles, to name a few, but also more pressures on human life, such as environmental pollution. There are negative connotations that rationalization is associated with as well. It petrifies culture by replacing values with efficiency, emotion with rational calculation, and sympathy with instrumental reason. People themselves become dehumanized. To base all criteria of human action on rationality and calculation would be to remove the heart from the brain and the body from the mind. We can see this illustrated in organizations with tall hierarchical structures. The CEO at the head of the organization makes decisions that can affect thousands of lives. But when he looks at the sheet of employees, John Frank, employee number 89, he seems a number, an abstraction. Weber claims the fate of our times is characterized by rationalization and intellectualization, and above all, by the disenchantment of the world. This leads us to the concept of disenchantment. In the past, in the church dogma, curiosity was looked down upon. When the church was at its peak, there was a world of enchantment associated with science. Alchemists, scientists, and wizards were all the same. Non-religious people were concerned when we left this period of enchantment because people enjoy this enchantment or spell of magic. Disenchantment is seen as the dark side of rationalization and is defined as the driving of magic out of this world. It means that essentially there are no mysterious, incalculable forces that come into play, but rather that one can, in principle, master all things by calculation. An interesting consequence of disenchantment that we can see as the world becomes more rationalized is how it impacts our relationships and interactions with other people. Several famous thinkers believe cultural fantasies, not truth, makes our lives meaningfully connected to others. According to Eva Illouz, the rationalization of love is at the heart of the new ironic structure of romantic feeling, which marks the move from an enchanted to a disenchanted cultural definition of love. The cultural model of love at first sight is the most ready illustration of what can be dubbed as an enchanted version of love, a view of love as an intensely meaningful experience. Disenchantment is a property of belief that becomes organized by knowledge systems. Because of this, love becomes nothing more than the blind necessity of nature and of the social group. Scientific explanations reduce love to a mere effect of prior causes that are unseen and unfelt, and that are not mystical but rather located in involuntary and psychic or chemical processes. Here, love has undergone the same process of disenchantment as nature. It is and will be interesting to observe how, as time passes, more and more aspects of our lives will succumb to rationalization, and what more of the world will become disenchanted.